in the early 1900s in a small town called Olallia, Washington. There was a woman who called herself a doctor. Her name was Linda Hazard. She wasn't a doctor. She never went to medical school. She never earned a degree. She got her license through a loophole. Washington state had a law that allowed practitioners of alternative medicine to be grandfathered in. She slipped through the crack and suddenly had a license to practice. Her specialty was fasting. She believed that every disease, every illness, every ailment known to man was caused by one thing: eating too much. And the cure, according to Linda Hazard, was simple: stop eating. She wrote 2 books, Fasting for the Cure of Disease and Scientific Fasting, the ancient and modern key to health. She built her own sanitarium out in the woods of Olalla. It looked peaceful from the outside. Trees, fresh air, a place to heal. Patients came from all over. They came because they were sick and desperate. They came because traditional medicine had failed them. They came because Linda Hazard told them she could fix what nobody else could. What happened inside that sanatorium was something else entirely. Patients were put on a diet of small amounts of tomato juice and asparagus broth, sometimes a teaspoon of orange juice. That was it. That was their daily intake. For days, for weeks, for months, they were given daily enemas and daily massages. Except the nurses who worked there later said the massages didn't sound like massages. They sounded like beatings. The patients wasted away. Their bodies consumed themselves. Muscle, fat, organ tissue. They became skeletal. They became too weak to stand, too weak to speak, too weak to leave. And when they died, Linda Hazard would sign the death certificate herself. Cause of death: some previously undiagnosed condition. Never starvation. Never her treatment. 40 patients died under her care. But the case that finally brought her down involved 2 sisters from England. Claire and Dorothea Williamson were wealthy British women who travelled to Washington State in 1911 because they heard about Linda Hazard's revolutionary fasting treatments. They arrived healthy. They arrived hopeful. Within weeks, they were starving. Hazard isolated them. She took control of their finances. She had them sign over their valuables, their jewelry, their money. She dressed in their clothes while they wasted away in beds they could no longer get out of. Claire Williamson died on May 19th, 1911. She weighed less than 50 pounds. Dorothea barely survived. She was rescued by a family friend who travelled from Australia after not hearing from the sisters. When he arrived at the sanitarium and saw Dorothea, he barely recognized her. She was skeletal, barely alive. He got her out. The investigation that followed revealed the full scope of what Linda Hazard had been doing. Patient after patient. Death after death. All of them starved. All of them signed over their money and property before they died. Linda Hazard was convicted of manslaughter in 1912. Not murder, manslaughter. She served 2 years in prison. 2 years for 40 deaths. After her release, she went right back to practicing. She rebuilt. She opened a new sanitarium. And in 1935, she began fasting herself. She died of starvation in 1938. The woman who starved 40 people to death died the same way she killed them. Some people believe she was conducting a twisted experiment on herself. Others believe she actually believed her own lie, that fasting could cure anything, even death. It couldn't. There are doctors walking around right now with licenses they shouldn't have. There are practitioners operating through loopholes that should have been closed decades ago. There are patients trusting people they shouldn't trust because the person has a title in front of their name. 40 people walked into that sanitarium in the woods of Olalla, Washington. They trusted the woman in the white coat. They never walked out. This has been Nurse Off the Record.